Imagine growing up with almost no resources, in a hostile environment, and still managing to conquer every goal you set for yourself. Imagine building an unstoppable legacy through effort, dedication, sacrifice, and above all, unbreakable discipline. Today, we look at the story of Arnold Schwarzenegger, a man who, despite being raised in extreme poverty, never allowed those circumstances to limit his mindset or weaken his determination to rise. In the world of sports, every discipline has its undeniable icon. In basketball, we think of Michael Jordan. In baseball, Babe Ruth. In martial arts, Bruce Lee. But in bodybuilding, the first name that always stands out is Arnold Schwarzenegger. What makes his journey remarkable is that he triumphed in three completely different fields. First, he conquered the world of bodybuilding. Second, he became a major action movie star. And third, he entered politics, ultimately serving as governor of California, not once, but twice. Yet there is one fundamental key behind all these achievements, and in this video, we are going to uncover it. Arnold Alois Schwarzenegger was born in the summer of 1947 in Austria. His mother's name was Aurelia Jadny. His father, Gustav Schwarzenegger, was a strict local police chief and a former soldier who had fought in World War II, carrying with him the trauma and bitterness of that experience. Arnold grew up in a humble household with very limited means. They did not even have running water at home. For years, he and his family walked roughly 650 feet several times a day to fill buckets of water needed for cooking, bathing, and basic hygiene. His father demanded that Arnold and his brother earn their breakfast through physical exercise, forcing them to compete against each other. When sober, Gustav showed moments of affection, but after drinking, he became aggressive. Punishments were frequent and excessive. Something as simple as tripping and breaking a glass was enough to provoke a beating. He also showed clear favoritism toward Arnold's older brother, Meinhard. With him, Gustav was patient and kind, while toward Arnold, he was cold and severe. This left a deep emotional wound in the young boy. Many nights, Arnold lay awake, wondering if he was truly the son of a man who never offered him the same understanding. With tears and a quiet anger, he began rejecting that reality. Even while surrounded by poverty and violence, he kept telling himself that he did not belong there and that he would do everything in his power to become someone significant. He would later say that this harsh, unadorned childhood sparked in him an ambition that never faded. During his school years, he watched a film about the United States that captivated him, with its cities, its cars, and everything the American dream seemed to represent. From that moment, he felt a growing desire to build his future in that country. As a teenager, he watched another film that would shape the rest of his life, Hercules, starring Reg Park, a bodybuilder with an extraordinary physique. Soon after, he came across a magazine that revealed Reg's training routine, his habits, and the fact that he was Mr. Universe, one of the most prestigious titles in the world of bodybuilding. That is when he learned that Reg woke up at 5 a.m. and trained up to 3 times a day. He also realized that reaching that level required years of effort and discipline. Inspired, Arnold began surrounding himself with people who shared Reg's path. He changed his diet, trained with intensity, and quickly transformed from a thin teenager into a solid, muscular young man. The gym became the place he longed for the most. Weekends even depressed him because the doors would close. He hated not being able to train, so much so that he and a friend would sneak in through a back door and lift weights in the closed gym every weekend without the owner noticing. But Arnold did not only want a strong body, he wanted a strong mind. At 15, he studied psychology to better understand the power of the mind over the body and how to use it to overcome adversity. He trained every single day without fail, pushing every muscle group with intensity, and eventually designed his own routine, the now famous Arnold Split. By 16, his body was already defined. He competed in local tournaments against adults, and although he had not won yet, the motivation was there. His first real breakthrough came at the Mr. Austria Junior competition, where he prepared relentlessly and won first place. That victory marked the true beginning of his career and the dream that would push him to become the youngest Mr. Universe in history. But to move forward, he needed to leave Austria, and to obtain that permission, he had to complete mandatory military service. At 18, he enlisted, During training, he heard about the Mr. Europe Junior competition in Stuttgart, a contest searching for the best young physique on the continent. Although he was denied permission to leave, he fled the base, traveled on his own, competed against 28 highly trained young athletes, and won. With that victory, he became the best junior physique in Europe. His act of rebellion earned him a week in military prison upon returning, but to Arnold, it was worth it, and that decision introduced him to someone important, a photographer who was so impressed by his physique that he offered him a job as a trainer at a gym in another city. It was not a high salary nor a glamorous life, but it was his first real chance to live inside the world he dreamed of and to escape a town that no longer matched his ambitions. In his new city, Arnold lived with only the essentials: a bed, a few clothes, and a protein blender, but he was finally surrounded by people who shared his passion. He spent his days training, learning, and refining his routine. Motivated by that environment, he set a new goal: competing at Mr. Universe in London. With the help of his new friends, he gathered enough money to travel and compete, this time in the main category. He hoped only to place in the top 6, yet he shocked everyone by taking second place at just 19 years old. That contest changed his life. One of the judges saw something extraordinary in him and invited him to live with his family so they could prepare him for the next year's competition. And in that house, something incredible happened. One day, a friend of the judge walked in, and that friend was none other than Reg Park, the bodybuilder Arnold had watched on the movie screen as a teenager, his lifelong idol, the man who inspired him. Arnold recalls it as an extraordinary moment. They talked, connected, and even trained together. During that meeting, Reg made Arnold a promise: if he won the next Mr. Universe, he would take him to South Africa, help him appear in exhibitions, and give him the chance to start earning money doing what he loved. With that motivation driving him, Arnold trained harder than ever to seize the opportunity life was offering him. He didn't stand out only for his discipline or the intensity of his workouts, but also for an inspiring sense of confidence. On bodybuilding stages, his face always carried a level of certainty far beyond that of his competitors. He often said that he felt like a champion long before becoming one, and that this mindset was the secret behind his success. Arnold once explained it this way: if you have a clear vision of where you want to go, everything else becomes much easier. Whenever you train, instead of thinking, "Damn, I still have 100 more squats to go," think, "Good, I can't wait to do those 100 squats," because you know that effort is one more step toward your final goal. Then came 1967, the year of his big moment. As he stepped on stage, he struck pose after pose, flexing every muscle to reveal each cut and fiber he had built through relentless work. And when the winners were announced, Arnold was proclaimed the new Mr. Universe, becoming the youngest champion in the history of the competition. Reg Park kept his promise and welcomed Arnold into his home in South Africa, where he was received as part of the family. Arnold spent his days surrounded by people who shared his passion and pushed him to improve. Reg's wife, a ballet teacher, taught him how to refine his posture, while Reg shared everything he knew about bodybuilding. The following year, Arnold returned to the Mr. Universe stage and won his second title, establishing himself as the best physique in Europe. But he wanted more. He dreamed of reaching the United States, where the greatest champions lived, and the opportunity arrived when Joe Weider, a legendary figure in the sport, saw Arnold, was struck by his potential, and invited him to an event in the United States that could launch his international career. Without hesitation, Arnold moved to the United States under Weider's invitation. He arrived speaking only a few words of English and carrying just a few dollars in his pocket, entering a country full of opportunity, but also marked by social tension and the Vietnam War, a time when bodybuilding was far from a mainstream interest. Still, Arnold was determined to change that. He arrived in his best shape, convinced he would keep winning as always, but in his first American competition, he faced a higher level of talent and finished in second place, losing to Frank Zane. The defeat crushed him emotionally. He was alone, unable to speak the language, and for the first time, he began to doubt himself. But Joe Weider didn't abandon him. He found Arnold an apartment in Los Angeles so he could find stability and prepare himself properly for what was ahead. Settled in California, Arnold discovered Gold's Gym, the heart of bodybuilding and a gathering place for some of the most impressive physiques in the world. Realizing he wasn't yet at at the level required to be #1 in America, he began training alongside the greats and feeding off the competitive atmosphere. It was during this period that he learned about anabolic steroids and admitted that he began using them, always under medical supervision.
Everybody in the bodybuilding field who is up there on the top is taking steroids. 5% of my progress is from the steroid.
Over time, he made friends.
Oto, nowy, tieczy.
Okay, pick it up.
And entered his first serious relationship with Barbara Outland Baker, marking the beginning of a more stable chapter in his life. Because bodybuilding didn't earn much money at the time, Arnold had to find other ways to generate income. He started a masonry business with his Italian friend, Franco Colombo, who was also a bodybuilder. Even though they offered lower prices than their competitors, the business didn't take off until they changed their strategy and began presenting themselves as specialized European masons. During that era, anything European was highly fashionable in the United States, and this shift became the turning point for their success. They even raised their prices, and the job requests began pouring in. In his free time, Arnold used his bodybuilding knowledge to sell informational products by mail, including nutrition advice and weightlifting routines. After a long period balancing both ventures, he earned his first $1 million. He reinvested that money in low-cost properties, sometimes quadrupling his investment, allowing him to build financial stability and pursue his dreams without worrying about day-to-day expenses. He also partnered with Joe Weider and began earning money through his image, appearing in magazines, promoting supplements, and participating in bodybuilding-related events. However, he soon realized that others were earning far more than he was, which motivated him to learn how to do business the American way. He enrolled in business and finance courses, improved his English, and studied commercial strategy. During this time, he was offered the leading role in a film titled Hercules in New York. It was his first time on a movie set, and even though his English was still limited and they dubbed his voice for the release, he enjoyed the experience. In 1970, a new edition of the Mr. Universe competition was held in London, where Arnold faced his childhood idol, Reg Park, who at 42 had come out of retirement to compete against him. Arnold won, a monumental accomplishment he had dreamed of his entire life, defeating his idol and being recognized as the best. But when he stepped off the stage, he didn't feel the happiness he expected. For years, his driving force had been reaching the level represented by Reg Park, and now that he had achieved it, he realized something. What truly pushed him forward was having a new peak to climb. In search of new challenges, he began diving deeper into the world of acting. But in the middle of that transition, he received devastating news from Austria. His brother had died in a car accident while driving under the influence of alcohol. Sometime later, his parents visited him in the United States, and the reunion helped him reconnect with them after years of distance. During their stay, he noticed a change in his father, calmer, less strict, as if age had softened him. But that peace didn't last. After returning to Austria, his father suffered a stroke. Arnold traveled immediately and stayed with him for a while. But after returning to the United States, he received the news of his father's death. Years later, Arnold admitted that he completely blocked the emotions connected to these losses, removing those experiences from his mind so they wouldn't slow down his ambitions.
I had no feelings about it. I eliminated it. It maybe comes out sometimes in my life later on, those feelings, that I don't know.
Determined to push bodybuilding forward, Arnold decided to write a book and appear on television shows. Although he became more widely known outside the sports world, he didn't abandon competition. That year, he faced his strongest rival, Sergio Oliva, who possessed an imposing physique and an exceptionally narrow waist. Knowing he could lose, Arnold suggested changing the stage to one with a dark backdrop, which favored him visually. The strategy worked, and the judges awarded him the victory. The following year, he returned with the best physique of his entire career. That year also saw the emergence of Lou Ferrigno, a giant with remarkable muscle mass. But even he couldn't surpass Arnold. Thanks to his success in bodybuilding and his determination to popularize the sport, Arnold became an icon. He gained thousands of fans and started being recognized on the street. With more than 14 championships under his belt, and at the peak of his career, he decided to leverage his fame and pursue opportunities as an actor. But his heavy accent, the failure of Hercules in New York, and a physique far beyond Hollywood standards close many doors. 5 years go by without meaningful offers. Still, instead of giving up, he focuses entirely on improving. He takes acting classes and works relentlessly on his pronunciation, all while insisting on carving out a place for himself. Many tell him he has no chance in Hollywood because of his massive body, but Arnold turns that supposed weakness into a strength. Over time, he lands a few small roles, such as in Happy Anniversary and Goodbye, where he plays a masseur, and later in the television series The Streets of San Francisco, taking on a supporting role. Although his roles up to this point are minor, everything changes when a friend writes a story called Stay Hungry. Coincidentally, the protagonist is remarkably similar to Arnold, a bodybuilder preparing for Mr. Universe while trying to save his gym from being demolished. The film is directed by Bob Rafelson, who initially doubts giving Arnold the role due to his limited acting experience and thick accent. However, Arnold has been practicing and improving steadily, and he manages to win the part during the audition. As the film moves into post-production, another decisive opportunity emerges, a documentary about the world of bodybuilding titled Pumping Iron, following the 100 days leading up to the 1975 Mr. Olympia. Arnold, already a 5-time champion, competes once more against Lou Ferrigno. Beyond training at his highest level, he uses psychological strategies to undermine his rival's confidence. When the day of the competition arrives, the cameras are rolling. Before stepping on stage, Arnold announces that this will be his final contest. He wins his 6th Mr. Olympia and retires as the undisputed champion. The premiere takes longer than expected, but when the documentary finally reaches theaters, it becomes a phenomenon. It propels Arnold into mainstream stardom and transforms Mr. Olympia into an event of global interest. Joe Weider, always quick to identify opportunities, capitalizes on the moment by expanding both the Mr. Olympia brand and Arnold's public image. Arnold appears on magazine covers, television shows, and elite events. In the middle of this momentum, Stay Hungry premieres, further solidifying him as a rising figure in Hollywood. During this period, Arnold meets Maria Shriver, niece of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, better known as JFK, one of the most influential presidents in American history. This connection with the Kennedy family becomes deeply significant. Maria becomes his partner and introduces him to political and social circles of great influence. In the years ahead, this relationship will play a crucial role in his path to becoming the governor of California. Once Arnold steps away from competitive bodybuilding, he channels all his energy into conquering Hollywood. He finds an agent who secures the role he desperately needs, Conan the Barbarian. In it, he portrays a formidable warrior with a commanding physical presence. The shoot is grueling. He wakes up at 5 a.m. to train with swords and film demanding scenes, some so intense that he ends up bleeding for real. But every sacrifice proves worthwhile. The film becomes a major success, earning around $90 million at the box office, an extraordinary figure for the time. It is the first film that truly opens the doors to his breakthrough as a bona fide star. By then, the 1980s are just beginning, undeniably the decade most saturated with iconic action films. Afterward, he embarks on a promotional tour across several countries and begins to establish himself as an international action movie star. Afterward, he applies for U.S. citizenship, and after months of studying, he earns it. Arnold speaks of this moment with pride. "I was born in Austria, and I'm proud of that, but I was made in America." At this point, action cinema, led by powerful, larger-than-life protagonists, dominates the box office, and figures like Arnold begin gaining territory. One night, at a party, he meets renowned producer Mike Medavoy, who offers him a high-potential action film. The role is that of a killing machine, with very few lines and no emotional depth. At first, Arnold is not enthusiastic, but after thinking it over for several days, he accepts the lead role in The Terminator. The Terminator tells the story of a dystopian future where machines have taken control of the world and are determined to wipe out humanity. After the premiere, the character becomes iconic, delivering one of the most unforgettable lines in film history.
I'll be back.
This role launches Arnold into global superstardom, cementing both the film and the character as some of the most memorable in cinematic history. complete. With this success, he stands alongside Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, and Jean-Claude Van Damme as one of the defining action heroes of the 1980s and 1990s. On a personal level, he marries Maria Shriver in a large ceremony, and not long after, their first daughter is born. As he builds his family, his fame continues to rise. Now he no longer needs to audition. Producers look for him directly to offer leading roles. Shortly after the wedding, he films Commando, where he plays a former Special Forces soldier who must rescue his kidnapped daughter. The movie offers everything audiences wanted at the time: action, explosions, fights, and intense sequences that perfectly complement his physique. And although the plot is simple, it becomes another hit. Then comes Predator. Here, Arnold plays Dutch, the leader of an elite military team who confronts an alien creature in the jungle. A mix of action, suspense, and science fiction that quickly becomes a classic. Adding to his growing exposure, another massive hit premieres, Twins, a comedy co-starring Danny DeVito. No one expected an actor known primarily for action roles to succeed in a lighthearted, absurd comedy, but the duo delivers a box office success surpassing $100 million. In a remarkably strategic move, Arnold convinces DeVito to take on the film without a fixed salary, choosing instead to earn a percentage of the profits. If the movie had failed, they would have walked away empty-handed. But confidence and calculated risk have always been part of Arnold's nature. The film becomes a triumph, and both end up earning far more than they would have with traditional contracts. Audiences begin to see Arnold as truly versatile. He starts appearing in commercials, interviews, and even ramen ads in Japan. He also releases The Running Man, where he plays a man wrongly accused and forced to participate in a sadistic televised game show where he must fight for his life. The story is set in a dystopian 2017 and is loosely based on Stephen King's novel The Running Man. He then stars in Red Heat, portraying a Soviet police officer who must work with an American detective to capture a drug trafficker. After that comes Kindergarten Cop, a blend of action and family comedy in which he plays an undercover agent who has to pose as a kindergarten teacher to crack a case.
At the peak of his fame, Arnold starred in one of the greatest achievements in cinema, Terminator 2: Judgment Day. This time, he wasn't the villain, he was the hero, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was instrumental in making the project happen. He pushed the new producers to buy back the rights and revive the idea. Once the legal issues were finally resolved, the original team returned. James Cameron as director, Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, and Arnold now stepping into the role of the protector. Behind the scenes, the production was massive. The visual effects were groundbreaking for their time, and every dollar was up on the screen. Terminator 2 wasn't easy to bring to life. For years, the franchise rights were locked in legal disputes, and many questioned whether it was even possible to create the new villain, the T-1000, with the technology available back then. But James Cameron refused to give up. Filming was enormous in scale. The movie was shot in more than 20 locations across California and New Mexico. One of the most iconic was a concrete channel in Los Angeles, where the motorcycle and truck chase takes place. To film there, the crew had to redirect an entire river. The psychiatric hospital, the steel mill from the finale, and the office buildings were also real locations that the team modified for stunts and explosions. It became the most expensive film ever made at that time, with a budget of more than $100 million. Yet even before its release, much of that money had already been recovered through international distribution deals, and when it finally premiered, theaters remained full for weeks. It broke box office records, critics praised it, and of course, the line,
Hasta la vista, baby,
became part of American pop culture. After the phenomenon of Terminator 2, Arnold continued delivering success after success. He became a living legend and inspiration to hundreds of thousands around the world. One of those hits was Total Recall, a blend of action, science fiction, and futuristic paranoia, where he plays a man who begins to suspect that his entire life might be an implanted lie. Later came a stumble with Last Action Hero, but instead of slowing down, Arnold reunited with James Cameron and pitched a new idea. He wanted a spy film filled with action, humor, and featuring Jamie Lee Curtis. And that's how True Lies was born. Despite his earlier successes, the landscape began to shift. In 1997, he played Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin, but the film became a critical failure. It made Arnold question his place as a leading man, and to make matters worse, he suffered a serious health issue and needed open-heart surgery. His mother flew in to be with him during his recovery, but shortly after returning home, she passed away from the same heart condition Arnold had faced. He had dealt with loss before, his father, his brother, but this one hit him especially hard. He decided to take a long break, a year away from the spotlight, to recover physically and emotionally. But that time off came with consequences. Fewer offers came in, major roles disappeared, and the one movie he accepted, Collateral Damage, turned into another failure. And that's when he realized it was his era as an action superstar had come to an end. He had reached the top. He had given everything, but now he needed something else, another challenge, something that would make him feel like he was building something great again.
He decides it is time to enter politics. And to understand what comes next, we need to look at the context. It is 2002, and the state of California is facing a serious crisis. Rolling blackouts, a growing budget deficit, and a general feeling that the government simply is not working. Most people blame the sitting governor, Gray Davis. Arnold sees this moment as a unique opportunity to step into public service, driven by the memory of his harsh childhood and his desire to give back to the states that gave him a second chance. But there is a problem. He is in the middle of filming Terminator 3, so he starts testing the waters slowly. In interviews, he leaves subtle hints about his political ambitions, and at public events, he mixes humor with small policy ideas. He even uses his iconic phrase, "Hasta la vista, baby," suggesting that he could finally say goodbye to the state's problems. And then things shift in his favor. Governor Gray Davis is removed from office, and the Republican candidate who planned to run decides to withdraw. At first, Maria Shriver is completely against the idea. She comes from the Kennedy family and has lived firsthand the risks of political life, including the assassination of her uncle. The decision is difficult, but everything changes when Arnold appears on The Tonight Show. When the host asks if he's going to run, he answers live in front of millions. Gray Davis is failing all of us, and that is why I am going to run for governor of the state of California. That statement launches his official campaign. Many in Hollywood think it is madness. Going from action star to politician sounds absurd, but Arnold is convinced, and he has something rare, the full support of the Kennedy family. The funny thing is that even though he had already announced his intentions publicly, behind the scenes, he had no team and not even a campaign name. He moves quickly, brings in experienced people, and the news spreads worldwide. He uses his fame, launches ads, travels across the state, and builds momentum. In debates against seasoned politicians, Arnold simply acts like himself, and that authenticity sets him apart. But 5 days before the election, the Los Angeles Times publishes allegations from 6 women accusing him of inappropriate comments and unwanted touching in the past. It hits hard. Arnold responds by acknowledging that he made inappropriate jokes earlier in his career while denying any more serious accusations. And finally, election day arrives. The results confirm it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the bodybuilder, the action star, the immigrant from Austria, becomes governor of the most populous state in the country in 2003. As a curious detail, Arnold refuses the governor's salary, which amounted to $175,000 per year. After building his fortune through years of work and discipline, that income meant nothing to him. So he chooses to serve without accepting any payment during his time in office. Once in power, Arnold faces heavy criticism, especially for the state's growing fiscal deficit. When he took office, the deficit was near $8 billion, and by the end of his administration, after the 2008 financial crisis, it had grown by more than 200%. To confront it, he applies cuts across public education, healthcare, social services, and state employees' salaries. Some of his positions, like his opposition to same-sex marriage and other comments seen as outdated, also spark controversy. To answer some of that criticism, he appoints Susan Kennedy, an openly lesbian feminist Democrat, as his chief of staff. On environmental issues, he pushes some of the most ambitious emissions reduction laws in the country, earning praise even from President Barack Obama. During these years, he steps away almost entirely from acting. He stays close to the public, wins re-election in 2006, and serves 2 full terms firms from 2003 to 2011. But despite his dedication, his legacy remains mixed. Major advances in environmental policy and political inclusion, alongside a complex fiscal record that California had to address in the years that followed. His life takes a dramatic turn after leaving office. The news becomes public that he had fathered a child outside of his marriage with a household employee. That revelation triggers his separation from Maria Shriver after 25 years together. The story shakes his public image and sends him into one of the darkest personal periods of his life. But as he had done so many times before, he rises again. He returns to acting and receives a second chance with The Expendables, sharing the screen with Sylvester Stallone. From there, he rebuilds his career as an action star. He appears in films like The Last Stand, where he plays a retired sheriff who must confront a cartel trying to cross the border. In Sabotage, he leads an elite DEA unit facing internal betrayal. In Maggie, he takes on a more emotional role as a father caring for his daughter after she becomes infected with a zombie virus. And he once again puts on the Terminator suit in Terminator Genesis, keeping alive the franchise that turned him into a legend. There are many admirable elements in Arnold's story: his discipline, his long-term vision, but one crucial factor behind his success is often overlooked: the people around him. After competing in Stuttgart, a photographer invited him to work at a gym where he sometimes slept on a bench, but he was exactly where he needed to be, surrounded by people who thought like him, pushed themselves daily, and pursued similar goals. Later, he met Joe Weider, who became a mentor and opened countless doors for him. In California, he arrived at Gold's Gym, where he trained alongside the pioneers of the sport. They helped him refine his technique, understand the psychological side of competition, study the business, and exposed him to the realities of the industry, including the use of steroids. That environment gave him tools, networks, and visibility. Like any high-performance setting, it offered benefits and carried risk. All of this happened while his identity was still forming, and those people and places shaped his habits, strengthened his routines, and transformed his mindset. Fortunately, they reinforced everything he was already striving for. Just as he sculpted his body in the gym, the environment he immersed himself in ended up sculpting his character. We tend to think that everything depends solely on willpower, but our environment is the soil where that willpower either grows or fades. The people around us, what we normalize, what we learn through imitation, all of that guides our direction, often without us realizing it. That is why it is important not only to look forward, but also to look around and ask ourselves who is walking beside us. The truth is that Arnold did not get there alone. No one does. And understanding that does not diminish his achievements. Instead, it makes his story more real, because there is also merit in choosing the right places and the right people to grow with. Throughout his life, Arnold has shared a powerful legacy in the form of a motivational speech built around 6 rules that helped him reach success. The veteran star summarizes his experience in 6 principles that continue to inspire countless people today. Rule number 1. Trust yourself. Listen to what you truly want, to what you desire, and to what you need. Take time to think, to reflect, and to visualize your ultimate goal every single day. Even if it is only 10 minutes, spend that moment alone with yourself, focusing on your vision so you never lose direction. Rule number 2. Break the rules and think big. Do not follow everything people tell you. Question things, explore new ideas, study different sources, and dare to try what others are not willing to attempt. Do not blend in, stand apart. Rule number 3, do not fear failure and step out of your comfort zone. Start something new, whether it's a small business, a new job, or even moving to a new city. Change is always difficult, and fear will always be there. But the one thing you cannot allow is to remain frozen by that fear. Rule number 4, do not listen to those who say you cannot do it. As Arnold often says, first they will tell you it is impossible, then they will ask you how you did it. Rule number 5, work hard. This is the most important rule of all. Simply work hard. You cannot climb the ladder of success with your hands in your pockets. Nothing comes easy, and when you fight for something, the success you earn will stay with you longer. Rule number 6, give something back to your community, your city, your family, or anyone who has helped shape your path. It doesn't have to be something grand. Sometimes the smallest gestures, the ones no one sees, create the greatest impact. These are the lessons and the extraordinary life of a man who chose to build himself from the ground up. Without a doubt, he is one of the most influential figures of our time. And in the end, Arnold Schwarzenegger's life reminds us of something simple yet powerful. Greatness is not inherited, it is built. It is built through discipline, through sacrifice, and through the courage to chase a dream when no one else believes in it. His journey is not defined only by victories, but by resilience, by rising after every fall and refusing to let the world decide who you can become. If this story resonated with you, if you've gone through difficult moments and still found the strength to keep moving forward, or if you're fighting for a dream right now, let this be your reminder. You are not alone, and you are capable of far more than you imagine. If you enjoyed this documentary, I invite you to subscribe, leave a like, and share your experience in the comments. Tell us about the challenges you've overcome and the goals you're pursuing today, and share this video with someone who needs inspiration, because sometimes one story is enough to change a life. Thank you for watching.